Welcome in, everybody. We're going to go ahead and have you come on in. Let me update my microphone, make sure I'm on a good mic here. Welcome. My name is Scott Beebe. If you've not been a part of a Business on Purpose class before, one of our master classes, these are amazing times. So I'm going to go ahead and bring you in, and we'll get started here in about 8 or 9 minutes or so. So a couple things as we get started. I'll say this a couple more times before we get started. One is, if you've not been a part of one of our master classes before, I'll tell you want to roll your sleeves up. We get into the nitty gritty, and you want to take notes. With that, you will also want to take all your devices and just put them away. It's not helpful, and we can't compete with that. And so if you're going to spend time here and we're going to spend our time with you and you're going to spend your time with us, then let's maximize that time the best that we possibly can. So I would respectfully ask if you'll just close out your email. You shouldn't have email open anyway. I mean, let's just be honest, right? It's ruined enough of our lives. And so anyway, so let's turn that off. Let's put the devices away. And we're going to get started here in just a few minutes. And if you want to go ahead and post some questions, I don't know that we'll have time, but we'll certainly try. And we've already got some questions queued up. But if you want to post some of those, you're welcome to do that. And then we'll get you started. All right. I'm going to turn my camera off and we'll get started here in just a few minutes. All right, welcome on in. It's always helpful for us to know where you are at and where you're coming from. So if you'll go into your chat, that would be super helpful. And just, if you don't mind, just put your name and where you're coming from, and then what kind of business you're in. Like new construction, home building, give me a scope. So don't just say construction. Well, duh, that's kind of who we work with most of the time. So give me scope, give me some details, where are you coming from, and let's get some names going in this. Gabe, Downey County, California. All right, I'll be out your way here in just a couple weeks, heading to San Francisco and then down to LA. Yeah, be on that West Coast. We're East Coasters. And so that's always a super fun 3-hour time change for us. Sometimes I wish I was West Coast. John, all right, John, where are you coming in from? Shoot us a message I see you up there on video. Thank you for that. And by the way, that's the other thing. Anybody that's on video, anybody that's on, go ahead and turn your video on. So we're going to act like we're normal human beings right here in a room. And this is not going to be, if you're going to be doing other work during this time, this will not be helpful. You might as well just turn this off and go do that work. Again, we can't compete. Some of you are like, man, you're really mean. No, I'm just real. I'm just like a normal guy. And I've parented before too. And so I've seen this work in a variety of different ways. So yeah, go ahead and turn that on. Gabe, thank you. New construction ADUs, which are booming out there right now. For sure. John, Knoxville. All right. UT fan, John? No? Yeah, sort of. Kind of have to be up there, I think. Custom home builder remodeler. Great. John, thank you for being here. Adam's going to be our feature presenter here in just a minute. Hey, Adam, take a look at those 2 questions that I sent you in your text. There's a couple more that came in that I think would be really helpful. Vanessa, yeah, good to see you. Vanessa, Landev and affordable housing. We got to connect a month or 2 ago, I guess. In Houston, delightful weather that time of year, Houston. You swim, you just kind of swim around the town the whole time in the humidity. So, all right, just a couple more minutes, we're gonna get started. So you all keep doing. Russell, appreciate it, Western North Carolina. Okay, all my kids have worked for years and years and years in Black Mountain, North Carolina, up at Camp Ridgecrest. In fact, they just got back from there a couple weeks ago. So electrical, new construction, renos, service, generator, deal. Wow, you got a lot going on. So Russell's a master dealer in a variety of things. Eric McLeod from Fort Myers. Yeah, man. GC, Southwest Florida, exteriors restoration contractors. Wow. Okay, so big scope for you. That's great. Yeah, Floyd, no problem. But if your computer does have, which most of you do, so most of you aren't going to be in Floyd's situation, so go ahead and turn your cameras on. As I mentioned earlier, we can't really compete with all the other stuff that's going on behind the scenes. And listen, I've been guilty of it too. I've done it myself. There's Adam Martin, speaking about swimming around town in humid weather right now. North Shore of New Orleans area, he and his dad, we had a big Cajun meal at their house a few months back that was amazing. Crawfish boil and the whole thing you can possibly imagine. It was great. All right, we've got a bunch of people coming in. This is great. This is great. Keep coming in. We'll play some tunes behind you. And for those of you who are just coming on, go ahead and shoot your name in the chat. Let us know what your scope is and where you're from. All right, scope and all of that, and then we'll get started. Oh, the other thing I'd like to hear from is how many of you are not using BuilderTrend, but you're kind of curious. You're thinking about that. We're not selling BuilderTrend, by the way. We don't They didn't even know we were doing this until about a week or two ago. And apparently they posted on their social media. So that's pretty cool. But let me know if you're not using BuilderTrend. Just put in there, yeah, not using BuilderTrend. It'll pop up with your name. But those of you who have not put your name, where you're from, and all that kind of stuff, then let us know. All right, Billy Anderson down there with Josh. Great, man. I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here. Right. Heidi, Home Source, Asheville. That's great. Man, we got a lot of kind of central to Western North Carolina folks coming. That's great. Heidi, I was just telling somebody that my kids work in Black Mountain. We're up there all the time in Black Mountain. They work at Camp Ridgecrest. My son-in-law was an intern there for a year, worked there for a long time and all that stuff. So anyway, yeah, we've got a definitive heart. Favorite restaurant in Nashville? Curate. I don't know if that's how you say it, but that's how we say it. So there's Big Mike Howe. Great to see you, man. I'll actually be up your way here in a couple weeks. Wausau, Wisconsin. Didn't even know that was a thing. So yeah, we'll be up there. All right. Andrew, good to see you. Okay. Yeah. Dan and Tammy, Streamlined Builders, another North Carolina builder. That's awesome. Loudermilk Homes, Atlanta, Georgia. All right. We got a ton of folks coming in. This is great. So we're going to give it a couple more minutes because this is usually where people start flooding in and we have to admit everybody in. Just so you know, we're going to decline everybody's meeting request if you're a recorder, if you're an AI recorder, because we are recording this. I don't want 600 AI recorders on here. So I'm just going to decline all those. It's nothing against you. Just we need to be really, really careful. Adam, you got a crowd, brother. So I hope you're ready to bring the heat with what you've got. And just a reminder for those of you just coming in, make sure you go ahead and turn off. Wow, all these note takers. Go ahead and turn on your camera. If you can do that for us, we want to be able to see you. Okay, a couple more things. Wait on a few more folks to come in. All right. Well, it's 2:30. We want to honor your time, and I'm really, really grateful that you're here. So we're going to go ahead and get started for what you want. Okay, one final reminder. Go ahead and anything that's distracting you right now, let's go ahead and move that. If there's people around you, let's go somewhere else. Let's take the phones, let's take the email, let's turn it off. We're going to try to deliver an amazing amount of value to you in a very, very short window of time, okay? And a couple things you need to know right as we get started. We've got a number of you on here who are clients, and I'm really, really grateful that you are here, and this is just another value add. You know, we're doing summits, and we're doing collectives, and we're doing everything that we can possibly do to bring value to you. And then we've got a number of you who we've not had the privilege of being able to work with before. And so we'll tell you at the end, if you need some time with us, then we'll tell you how to go about doing that. All right. But we are here to deliver value. I also want to let you know this up front. Some of you are rookies at BuilderTrend. Some of you are sort of novice. And some of you are like 5-star diamond status on BuilderTrend. We got to try to deliver value to all of you. Okay, so I can see Sean Supple. Sean's like 5-star diamond status. I think he's got a corner office at BuilderTrend. I think they give it like, Sean, this is his office, even though he owns a home building company and all that stuff. And like, we got some ninjas on the call. And one of the reasons that we're having Adam do this is, number one, is they do a lot in BuilderTrend and CopeGrand Homes in Charleston. But also Adam is very, very connected with BuilderTrend as an organization. So he's not like a full-time employee or anything like that. But he is definitely an ambassador for BuilderTrend. And I'll also tell you this as we get started, is that BuilderTrend takes a lot of heat. And guess what? Every other software takes a lot of heat. But because you're using BuilderTrend, you think it's a BuilderTrend issue or BuilderTrend sucks or BuilderTrend whatever. So if you can, for the entirety of our time, if you can just set your mind that BuilderTrend is a tool available for you to use to try to make your life easier so that you can be liberated from chaos to make time for what matters most, I think it'll be well worth your time. All right. So let's just go ahead and kind of reset our minds. And instead of coming in and going, man, show me one reason I ought not to cancel this thing. No. That's what everybody says about every software. So you are not alone. Sometimes I'll sing throughout our webinars, just so you know. Don't be offended. I'm trying my best. All right. Hey, I want to welcome you in. We're so grateful. My name is Scott Beebe. If we've not had a chance to meet, with Business on Purpose, and we are hosting this masterclass for one reason, and that is to liberate you from chaos. It's the reason we do everything at Business on Purpose. So, like I said, many of your clients, it's our privilege to be able to serve you, and I'm really, really grateful that you're here. We've gotten some questions from a lot of you already. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go, as we're going through this, I want you to write down the one thing that you want to try to take away from this time. And then if we've got time, you can ask the question for it. But if not, we're going to lob some questions in there. And then when we're done, I'm going to ask you that one thing again. What's the one thing that by doing that one thing makes everything else easy or unnecessary? So Adam's going to give you a bunch of stuff. And you guys are going to be asking a bunch of questions about a bunch of stuff. But I don't want you to do it all. I just want you to pick one thing and dive into that one thing once we leave here. Because remember this, Thomas Edison said it, vision without implementation is hallucination. All right? For those of you who don't know us, just so you know, we are a business coaching and advisory firm that works with business owners between 3 and 100 employees who want to be liberated from chaos of working in their business. So we help alleviate the 4 major pain points of purpose, people, process, and profit. And we do that by leveraging the Business on Purpose operating system. So it's a full proprietary operating system that we built. And I've even got a super cool thing that I showed a couple of you yesterday. Sean was actually helping me out with it a little bit yesterday. And so we have that proprietary operating system, and we do it so your business can run and grow with or without you. So we do not want you to do this alone. If you don't work with us but want to see what it's like, then just go on to businessonpurpose.com/contact. All right. So actually, Brandon, if you could just put that in the chat window, that'd be really great. So if you want to archive that, everybody look in your chat window. It's a great time to go ahead and do that. And if you need to get in touch with us because you got questions, then let's do it. All right, let's bring in Adam and Ben Copenhaver. These brothers from another mother, they literally are brothers. So like I can say that and it's not goofy. These guys are out of the Charleston, South Carolina area, and Adam and Ben own CopeGrand Homes. And they've got one aim, just like we have one aim to liberate owners from chaos, they've got one aim as well, and that's to deliver a grand experience in the Charleston area. They have also been very vocal champions for BuilderTrend software. And so they're diving deep into the details of the helpful project management platform, which is what it is, by the way. And so a lot of us get confused thinking that BuilderTrend is like a full, what they call ERP, or an enterprise resource platform. That is not the case. It does some sales stuff. It does some accounting stuff. It's a little bit more robust, but project management is really at its heart. And so as Adam and Ben meet and mingle with other peers throughout their local HBAs or nationally or NAHB, by the way, our team just got notified that we're giving 2 general session education talks at IBS in Orlando this year. So if you're going, let us know so that we can connect with you down there. And we're usually at the 20 Club Lounge and the Custom Central Lounge as well. So let us know and we'd love to be able to connect. So as they're meeting and connecting, they have found that peer frustration seems to be a little bit high when they're discussing things like software, because you buy into, in this case, BuilderTrend, but you find it a little bit frustrating. And so it breeds this question: is it the software that doesn't work, or is it me who's not working the software? So experientially, this is what we found, is that when you buy into a software, it could be BuilderTrend, it could be any of the other construction PM software, it could be Basecamp, Monday, Trainual, whatever it is, only about 12% of the software is actually being used. Why? It's because what we want is a one-click. See, Amazon got this right. They made buying anything around the world a one-click experience. Well, most project management software is not that way. And so you've got to commit to a little bit more diligence around the project management software, which also means that you have to build yourself around this idea of ongoing, what we call RPM training. You may want to write that down if you've never heard of that. RPMs, repetition, predictability, and meaning. And so we've got to think of a Gantt chart. You've got a Gantt chart, you've got all these things you need to train in your business. You've got sales process, marketing process, you've got your handbook, you've got your operational field processes, all those things. We should be training those all throughout the year. Again, think through a Gantt chart. But one of the things we don't proactively train on, and we expect BuilderTrend to do it all for us, is proactive software training. And so what we're going to do is Adam's going to try to answer some of these core questions today. And then from there, we want to teach you how to train BuilderTrend within your business proactively so you can begin to solve your own questions as you go. And then Adam will talk about their customer service and some of those other things. All right. So without any further ado, I want to dive right in. And Adam, I am so glad you're here, and we've queued you up with some of these, but I'm going to throw some curveballs as we go. So I gave Adam a heads up, so he's ready. And then we are also going to have, Brandon, if you can archive any questions that come in through the chat, and then Brandon will just archive those on a document. And if we've got some time, we can go back. If not, what Adam can do is a post masterclass video answering those questions, and we can just shoot it right out to all of you because we've got your contact from the registration. All right. So we can do that. Okay. Pins ready. Distractions gone. Adam Copenhaver, let's dive in, man, and let's get to this first question. So number one, why are builders so frustrated with software?
Guys, first, thank you. Thanks for the introduction, Scott. Really appreciate it. I'm going to try to provide a lot of feedback today in a very authentic way. The only way that I know it, I'm going to give you experience that I've had over the years. Ben and I have been running CopeGrand now for just about 10 years. So we're at that mark. Some of you are well beyond that, and some of you may just be starting out. So as Scott alluded to, we're going to try to hit all spectrums of my answers today. My experience is going to be for those that I think who are just starting out, and I think we can do a little bit of a deep dive for those who might be further progressed. I'm also going to offer this. I'm still just a student, 10 years in. My children are even younger than that, but really I'm a faithful man. I'm a father. After that, I'm a business owner. I'm also a business operator. I'm a student of BOP. And I'm also a student of the business systems that we use to operate our business. And the one that we're going to focus on today is BuilderTrend. So going back to that, all these questions, please, I'm an open book for you guys because you signed up today, because you're spending time with us today, and I know how valuable that is. If we don't get to you, oftentimes I'm you sitting on the other side of the screen. If we don't get to you and you've got a question, what's that one thing? Or by the way, I need some help with this, I definitely want you to reach out to me. One, because I'm a student. And that's how I learn is by helping other people. So if I can do that for you guys, that's the sole mission here today. I hope I have all the right answers, or at least nearly all the correct answers. You can judge me later, but please give me some feedback. But yeah, let's get into this. Why do I think that software is such a struggle for a lot of businesses, but particularly builders? I still remember the days of managing projects off of yellow pads, off of agendas, off of Gantt charts. And I still believe that our industry is, well, I know we're using nails and 2x6s religiously. We just won't let go of these archaic building materials. And so we oftentimes are stuck in the archaic nature of managing our business. And it seemingly is every year there's a new software, a new app. It does this, it does that. Now we've got AI. How do we possibly consume and adopt and implement these strategies, workflows, somewhat hacks into our business to help with productivity and efficiency? I think that most people are frustrated because there's too much and there's too much inconsistency. There's way too much inconsistency with adopting software, which ones, layering them in, and not just sticking with one thing. In addition to that, I think training. A lot of these new applications are not coming with training. I think that they're becoming more intuitive, which is nice. They've got a much better user interface these days compared to Nextel and those things that we used in the past to manage projects. But training is a big thing. If we're not continually invested in training, I mentioned earlier I was a student of, and I particularly did it in order, faith, father, business owner, business operator, BOP, business on purpose. I'm still training on how to run our business. I'm still getting the best advice that I can get. And Scott and I and team have been working together for over a year now. And I don't see me ever stopping, right? Our opportunity to learn needs to continue to keep the pace with evolution within our market. So as we go talk about software today, we'll talk about evolution. It is certainly a different software than it used to be a year ago, and certainly 10 years ago when we first started using it. I also think that people struggle with software in their business is because they don't make it a central hub of the business. They don't commit to it. It ends up being a fringe activity. One person, two people, three people might be trying it out over here. Another portion of the team might be testing it here. And there seems to be no central single source of truth. There seems to be nothing to rely on. And there seems to be all these different language models that the business is trying to rely on to create processes, systems with predictable and repeatable results, which is extremely important. A little bit related there, Scott, to RPM. And maybe another reason why we get frustrated with software is because we have too many. If you're looking at your phone right now, I swear you're looking at probably 50 different applications. It's just nature. But if you really do want best results in your core business management software, I'd encourage you to invest in one. and get that one that's going to serve you in the whole vertical of your entire business. And I'm really excited today that there's so many different businesses that are included on this call because variety is amazing, and we get a chance to learn a lot from each other. So, sorry guys, Scott said it. We're not going to have enough time today. I did it. I just did the first example. I spent way too long answering a question, but I do think that was a good lead off question there, Scott. As we get into some more.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just posted in the chat window 2 core questions for you to ask. All right. So some of you might already be going, well, I mean, I thought this was going to be super deep dive. And oh, yeah, we're going to get there. But 2 core questions before we move. Have you made a list of all the ways that you use BuilderTrend inherently? And how do you train that list with repetition, predictability, and meaning? Sean, do I have permission? Just give me a nod. Do I have permission to share your training list?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. So right here, there's all the things that Supple Homes trains on. Here's all the links that they've got to the different methodologies and process. Now, it took time. So you're like, well, can I just have his? No, because that's the way Supple Homes does it, right? We want you doing it the way that you do it. And so when we look, all these are from BuilderTrend, and Sean has a way, and I'll show you through that Gantt chart, to train these over time all throughout the year. So ask those questions, all right? No, Eric, those links go to his portal of his internal training. So this is Sean showing his team how to use BuilderTrend. This is not BuilderTrend showing you, because you all use it differently. So that stuff needs to be proprietary, but it can be done over time. So don't freak out. Just the next time you go do a bid, screen capture it like it's the last time you'll ever do it. All righty. Good start. Good start. So let's go in, Adam, to the second question, kind of a general question again. And that is this. So when we look at what the frustration is, but what, and I'm going to talk just to BOP clients for just a second, all right? What can a BOP client do with their coach? Because we've got dedicated time around this to spend more focused time on implementing BuilderTrend into their day-to-day. Because you work with Brent. So how can you leverage that time to go, hey, coach, can I get a little bit more time with this?
Hey guys, I really think that the answer to this question is maybe a self-reflection in the mirror, talking to yourself. I oftentimes do that and I get called out about it on my wife. But I talk to myself very often, trying to understand and conceptualize the things that I don't understand yet. One of the things that's nice about working with BOP is they will help you. They give you that reflection to talk to somebody about what is driving chaos in your world. Okay. Once you get to the chaos, you got to prioritize it, you got to organize it, and you got to put your finger on it. And one of the first things that we did with BOP is we said, hey, we're not going to be able to take all these best practices and organization models and put them all into place at once. It's an evolution of stacking things on top of each other so that you can then make the progress and look back and say, oh my gosh, look how far we've come. So the answer to this question is, how can we spend time with our BOP coach here? I would say, what is the biggest stressors in your business? Which ones are causing the most amount of unpredictability? And start there.
That's good. So if you're our client, put that down. That's an action item for you to ask your coach. For those of you not clients, thanks for letting us ask that question. All right, let's dive into some technical stuff. You ready? You bunch of geeks, man. Y'all are so, this is why you came, is for all the technical stuff. So Adam, how do we maximize the job costing tool within BuilderTrend? This is something we as coaches constantly push. Projection sheets, job costing, we need to know, and we want you to know if your jobs are profitable. So how can you really start to leverage this job costing tool within BuilderTrend? And if you need to share your screen, Adam, feel free.
Great. Thanks for the permission. Okay, how are we going to maximize the job costing tool in BuilderTrend? I'm an open book, guys. You're going to see this when you reach out to me later. I'm going to do the same thing. Let me figure out how to share here. I'm sending the request. Request is sent.
Ready to go.
Green button again. Okay. Can you see my BuilderTrend screen? You guys got that?
Everybody see it?
Need some feedback.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks for the head nods.
Hey, by the way, if you can't see it, you should have 2 different screens on your Zoom, especially if you're operating from 2 different screens, just so you know. All right.
Okay, great. Job costing, definition of job costing. I think each one of us builders and contractors and industry pros are going to have a different definition for job costing, but simply for me, I love to keep it simple. It is, what are the costs? What are the incremental costs of doing a project? And making sure that you are very much keeping track of all the things that matter, all the things that cost the project money, all the things that cost or have the project costing time. And so what I'm doing here is I'm giving you a glimpse into how detailed this team, our team at CopeGrand, enjoys being with our projects. Okay, and I'll scroll down through what ends up being some 15 to 35 pages for a single project worth of details, specifications, organization of costs, description, and this formalizes our scope of work for our budget. So these are our job costing details. How do we get these details? This is really important. We don't make up this information. We rely on our project specifications. We rely on our architects, our engineers, and our clients. And so through our pre-construction process, we develop all of this information, and then we go partner with our trusted trades and suppliers, and we go through all the details related to the plans. We read every word on the plans, by the way. If that's not a habit of you, your pre-construction manager, or your project manager, please get into it. Please get into reading all those details. I'll show you, I just had one up here. Highlight a set of plans. This is not a BuilderTrend program that I've switched my screen to right now. So there's always exceptions to every rule. But this is an example of this team, certainly in a color-coded basis, understanding the entire scope of work for your project. So we're talking about custom home construction right now. It might relate to anything, whether you're a pool builder or anything else. It's really important to keep track of these details. In our custom home building world, we like to say that everything's different from every single project. The reality is, it's not. There's a framework. There's very much a framework that you can stick to rely on making your time more efficient. So this estimate for us is actually a template. And this template's been evolving every single project, and we use the next template and we build our next project off of it. There's been times early on in our career that we forgot a lot of things to include in the budget. Embarrassing things, certainly. The one that I remember the most, the one that hurt the most, was we forgot to include particularly a septic system within our scope of work in our budget. Our team here, our morals, our client never knew that we forgot to budget for their septic system, but it was an engineered one, and it was a $30,000 system, and we took it on. That's one mistake that this software helped us never to make again, because
Wow.
that then went into the template, and we said there's no way we can forget about it again. So we're creating a process, a framework of systems, so that we can create predictable and repeatable results. Now, what changes about every job costing budget here? It happens to be the details within it. Okay, and those are the things that make it special. I would also offer to keep it simple. Even though there's a number of pages here, there are only about 75 cost codes that we use. So I've got to figure out how to, there we go. There's only about 75 cost codes that we use. So for those of you who have not seen BuilderTrend before, we've got this awesome feature called a job costing budget. In this job costing budget, oh, forgive me. There's always updates. There's always updates, right? In this job costing budget, we keep track of our cost categories over here. Please be organized with that. For those folks that are early in the implementation process of the business of contracting, you really do want to make sure that your job costing includes an organized list, chart of accounts, so to speak, for each job. I used to have, here's a tip. We used to run 200 of them. I wanted to know what the cost differential was between the 8-inch CMU and the 16-inch CMU and every piece of all the kit parts that went into our projects. I realized that it was a death of 1,000 paper cuts, that all I really needed to do was just simplify it into masonry. And here a little bit more even specifically, I'm not on the masonry category here, I know that, but what I'm doing is I'm taking our bid request for masonry that includes our plans, our engineering, the scope of work details. I get those bids back from our contractors. I realize which one I want to select based on which one's most competitive and the right fit for the project. And I'm making sure that we collaborate on our scope of work and putting it into the job. I do not break that masonry line item out any differently than what he is going to invoice me for that job. Okay, so the numbers match the bids. We set up the POs, but why confuse our project managers in the field with putting block over here, core fill over here, rebar over there, and having to separate all these different costs to then separate invoices. So I say here that I'm showing you a lot of detail, but I'm also trying to say, let's go ahead and keep it simple. Let's make sure that as our project managers here in Charleston, CopeGrand has the best project management team in Charleston. They are the tip of our spear. If I can save them time in the field doing anything, we want to do that so that they can focus on our clients and quality control and progressing the job forward. Okay. It's not invoicing, it's not cost code management, it's not figuring out where things are. And so this is the evolution that BuilderTrend has allowed us to take in regards to managing our costs throughout the job. Most of you do this on a spreadsheet. Okay. So I'm going to get a little bit, I've said this before in a number of other places on builder calls and other calls like this. We have not touched a spreadsheet in CopeGrand for anything project management related or even business related outside of the P&L and such in over 2 years. Okay. There might be an exception here or there, but a spreadsheet in our world is gone. So we really physically object to any other softwares getting in the way of managing our business and our work. Okay. So that we can stay true to using the features that are available to us in BuilderTrend. All right, Scott, we ought to move to the next question before
That's great. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to make a point, Adam, that for those of you, what you heard Adam say is like, okay, I need to jump straight to software if you're kind of new in this game. No, that's not what he said. Start with spreadsheets. He said, we had spreadsheets. We haven't used them for 2 years. Start with spreadsheets, prove to yourself, prove to us that you will use a spreadsheet. And at that point, now it's time to move into software because you've got the capability to be able to do that. All right. Next question. Adam, you're doing great, man. Thank you. Let's dive into another technicality around to-dos. These usually get like a standing ovation. People love to-dos, but then they kind of get a little quirky once they want to get more into them and that sort of thing. So Adam, walk us through what are some of more of the advanced hacks around to-dos that we need to be aware of and realizing, where they sit within schedule items or where they sit with recurring. Sean and I were talking yesterday about how to set them up as recurring and different things like that. So give us some advanced hacks around to-dos that'll be helpful.
Okay, to-dos. I'd also say, what do you need to do? What do you need to do for you, right? We do have the opportunity to do to-dos. It's right here in BuilderTrend. It's one opportunity of a checklist type of item that will help make sure that each one of your projects receives the attention when it needs that attention. For me, as a student, I do not focus so much on to-dos. I'd rather focus on the schedule first and allow items within my schedule items to be reminders or to-dos within them. So let's go ahead and over to the schedule. Now, again, I think that other folks are going to have a different workflow from this, but at the moment, this is how how we operate here related to schedule items. So it gives me an opportunity to show you and give you a glimpse into our schedule. This is a Gantt chart schedule. I like the Gantt chart. If you want the calendar view, you can use the calendar view here. If you want the list view, you can use the list view. I know that so many people on my team love the list view. For me, I don't know if it's my engineer nerdy background, but I really love being able to hit where are we at today? It's the blue line. And what are we doing? Okay, great. We're in framing. What other tasks are going on? So within framing, we're going to have at the end, we're going to have our framing punch list within there as a checklist. When we get down to deliver and install windows, we will put those to-dos within those schedule items so that we check them off the whole way through HVAC rough-in and installation, so that when I talked about keeping things simple, it's where does a project manager, keep on going back to project management, the tip of the spear, the most important guys on our team, where do they go to find information? We really just want it to be in one simple place. And if we're managing our schedule every single day, then why would we not have a checklist of to-dos within that schedule item? Okay. And so the schedule, this is a template schedule. We have several versions of the template schedule. There are projects that are 12-month projects. There are projects that are 18. There are projects that are 24. We run 3 different schedules throughout that, and then a renovation schedule, which is very unique, but it follows the same framework. And then in pre-construction, we then just layer in the specifics of the job. Okay, this one happens to be a elevated home project. It might have had driven piles that go underneath the elevated home. This may be a project where we're doing hardwoods before anything else for a particular reason. And so we'll massage our schedule, but from a template. So we're not recreating it every single time. So why are we using software? to become more efficient, to become more productive, to become more profitable. As you guys know, in construction, it is extremely difficult to demand higher profits from your clients. It is so much easier, as I'm understanding, learning as a student, to become more profitable by driving efficiencies within our business so that I don't have to compete with other builders on percentage and price. Schedule's a good line on that. This is the one here that I would focus on to answer that question.
That's good. Yeah, Adam, and it was a question about to-dos within the schedule. Yes, 100%. You can attach to-dos to the schedule. In fact, you can set up recurring to-dos. It's a copy feature. Sean helped me understand yesterday, so it's a little bit different in how it works. But I wanted you to also hear what Adam said is most builders are going to start with 1, 2, or 3 schedule templates that they can then copy from. And so you're like, can BuilderTrend not just give me this? Here's a big theme. I'm going to keep saying this whole time. BuilderTrend's training is for the masses. You need to customize this for you. That's part of the frustration, and that's with any software, by the way. One of our biggest things as coaches, when somebody goes, hey, I'm going to get a project management software or an ERP or whatever, we'll stop them and go, hey, before you do that, let's list out everything you want this tool to do so that when you go in, they know exactly, we're mutually setting expectations, number one, but number two, so we can go ahead and have a training list of all the things you want to train on once you get into the software. And so having scheduled templates, having scheduled to-dos, like all of these things are in there that are super important. If you have any follow-up questions about to-dos, just post them in there. I also think a lot of this is just helpful to see how somebody else uses this. Adam, you had something else.
So I was just going to add that consistency is key, right? This might lead into something else that we talk about.
Yeah, let's go into that next question because that's ultimately going to be the next thing. Because I know a lot of people are sitting here going, well, I'm into this, but she's not into this or he's not into this. And so how can you get the team to buy in to this methodology to where they can actually, let's see, you're still sharing yours? Hold on just a second.
Yeah, I'll stop.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. You'll pull yours back up here in just a second. So here's the question. How do we get our team just not going to buy in? And so for Adam, what are some tactical actions that you guys take to ensure that your team is not only tolerant of the software, but they're like, hey, Adam, you take this away from us and we're going to come punch you in the nose. So how do you build that sort of level of buy-in into your team?
I'm going to give BOP a lot of credit here for recognizing opportunities, recognizing what unites a team, recognizing different personalities and how we serve each other. And I guess over a year ago now, we started and set off on an initiative to create core values. We always felt like we had those core values right here. You know, as a leader, as a team member, you feel like, oh yeah, I know what we rally around. We talk about it all the time. Oh man, I still never know. Don't know how naive I am yet. I'm still learning. But those core values were absolutely, Scott, important to generate a culture that united us around what are the most important aspects of being successful as a team. And so when we talk about how do we generate the opportunity to rally around things within software, it starts number one with those core values. And then if we know that we've got these best practices, and I'll say this, I'll actually share this. When we first started using BuilderTrend, it was a software that you could do daily logs. It was a software where you could do a schedule. It was a software where you could keep track of your costs and several other things. I have watched the evolution and participated in investing in the evolution of BuilderTrend and each continued update. And something remarkable started to happen about 2.5 years ago, where they started doing updates to their software where I said, whoa, that update is actually a best practice within business. And we might have had a different way of doing something. And today our team knows that we'll oftentimes be in these meetings talking about where chaos is and a little bit of stress and friction. Of course, you do get more efficient as you tackle each one of these problems, but they will still come up throughout, as you evolve your business, you're still going to be chasing out, how do we make this more efficient and get rid of that friction? So when we have these conversations, quite often, I'm usually raising my hands and saying, wait a second, what does BuilderTrend want us to do? Okay, not how are we working around it? Why are we running this roadblock? But instead, what is this software that we're using as our single source of truth, as our central hub? of project management. What does BuilderTrend want us to do? And it was only about 2.5 years ago when we started doing that as they developed their software to, and this is my slogan, okay, nobody can take it. BuilderTrend seriously has, I feel like their slogan, it's already trademarked, I'm taking it, is building better builders. Utilizing the software as it was meant to be used, following their support structure, following their guidelines, always calling them when we have questions, has made us a better business. And so going back to the core values, okay, of unwavering commitment to excellence on our team, being doggedly relentless, being customer centered, being innovative, all of those wrap around BuilderTrend. And if you are still feeling like you can't get somebody to buy in, you really got to go back to focusing the roles and responsibilities. There you go, Scott. Another thing that we do at BOP,
Yeah.
focusing and getting clarity. Brent, you're probably on here too. Clarity is kindness. Okay. You really do have to go back to the fundamentals of what is this role responsible for to get best results. And then you can dig in, and then you can make some progress.
That's awesome. That's great. I put a little note in there. As soon as Adam started talking about value, some of you might tune out, be like, and I said, do it at your own risk. Because, for instance, one of our core values is relentless learning. So what do? We take the software that we use in our coaching and advisory firm. So one of them is called Streak for CRM, and we train on it regularly. Our coaches go through about 75 to 100 hours of training every year through our coaches meetings, through outside training, through all of that. And we are training relentlessly. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, how do you know what to stay on par for? You heard him, Adam mention Brent. He's one of our amazing coaches, but he also runs our Tuesday team meeting. Notice who doesn't run our Tuesday team meeting or our Monday coaches meeting or our Monday directors meeting. Me. They do this. And so they run this because we've empowered and equipped them to be able to do it. And every Tuesday, Brent pulls this up. This is called the BOP Anchor. And Adam's got one of these, and Sean's got one of these, and a bunch of you have one of these. And so this next week, Brent will pull this week up. I guess that's why it's highlighted already. And I want you to pay close attention to this section here. All right? Close attention right here. What is that? What are all those dots? Well, all those dots are the training that your BOP team goes through every single week. So this week, Ashley's going to train us on payroll. And then Thomas is going to train us on a new scorecard, and he's going to train us on client nurturing. Then next week, Ashley's going to train us on health insurance overview with our insurance guy. And then we're going to talk about org chart over and over. This is every week we're doing this. Well, Scott, you guys are huge. No. We got 13 people, just like some of you do. Well, Scott, you guys are too big for us. We only have 2, or I'm just by myself. When do you think we started this? And so what it does is we take all of our training. Notice line 19 and what we have here, construction training. Most of our coaches don't have a construction background. And so we have to learn relentlessly because it's one of our core values. And so we took that core value of relentless learning and it fueled what we do around training. So I want you to be able to visualize what this looks like when you can actually start to train on this. All right, Adam, I want to come back and ask you the customer service question here in a minute. All right. This is where I'm going to throw you a couple curveballs. Just make it fun and interesting.
All right.
See if we can throw you off.
Let's have some fun.
Yeah, your game. So got this question. The web connector is glitching with QuickBooks. Credits in QuickBooks not transferring into BuilderTrend as a credit, not being able to make a budget modification without having to create a change order. So, and I realize we're going to get to the customer service piece here in a minute, but any insight that you might have around that?
Sure. Let me try to make sure I get clarity on this one. Could you pull that back up again, Scott?
Yeah. Stand by.
Web connector is glitching and the connection with QuickBooks. That's what I got. Okay.
Yeah.
And credits. Okay. So my question might be, we do use QuickBooks, by the way. We integrate QuickBooks as our accounting software with BuilderTrend. It is really slick. It's come a long way. They now it used to talk one way, now it talks both ways, which is great. Question here is related to the connection, I believe. Web connector glitching with QB. If you are using QuickBooks Desktop, I can imagine you might be having more glitching. QuickBooks Desktop, we just fortunately made the right decision years ago when we went and chose to do QuickBooks Online. And it was from some research that we realized that Intuit QuickBooks was not going to be supporting the desktop version, particularly for contractors or for most anybody else, and they were moving to web-based. They are honestly, I think it's like kind of much like an iPhone where your iPhone should last forever, but seemingly after like a year or two, the battery is terrible and then you got to go get a new one. This is the same thing that I think is happening with QuickBooks Desktop. And so that may be where your issue is. If that's not the case and you've got online.
By the way, Adam, I just texted the person who asked the question and they are using desktop. So you nailed that one, but keep going with your online.
Okay, great. So credits. The other thing, credits wise, there's probably two types of credits. One, when we return some supplies, namely lumber, and we get a credit, right? Unused material comes back, it's a credit. It's a credit to the job cost. We put that credit into our bills and POs within BuilderTrend, and then it sends that back over to QuickBooks. QuickBooks recognizes it. Our bookkeeper says, okay, great, this is a credit, applies it in QuickBooks, and then we're good. So those two things then talk to each other and say it's been applied. There's another thing, credits maybe come up in a homeowner standpoint. And about a year, maybe it hasn't been quite a year, QuickBooks did open up a new, I'm sorry, BuilderTrend opened up a new function where they have something called credit memos. We've not used them yet. I'm aware of their functionality. We will probably use them because we do like to go to the end of the pasture with BuilderTrend and utilize. Like I said, well, what does BuilderTrend want us to do? It wants us to use every piece of their software to help us run our business. So we are interested always in exploring those. I just can't give you a lot of insights on that one yet.
I think that's a big takeaway though, is I know as a provider of content for owners is what we do. When we build a tool, we want you to use it. And so when we go into our operating system and we've got this wonderful operating system there and we've got 20 some odd, almost 30 tools in the operating system. And then one of our clients might go, well, I'm only going to use 3 of them. We're like, oh, that hurts because this could help you so much if you would just do this. Remember, the mission is to liberate you from chaos to make time for what matters most. We can't necessarily pull through on that if you're not leveraging the tools. And so that's where I would also counsel you to go, hey, beware of like trash and BuilderTrend if you're not using the tools in BuilderTrend and if you're not proactively training on BuilderTrend. And that goes for anything. That's not just BuilderTrend. I'm not just defending them. It goes for anything. It goes for us. It goes for anything that you've got. So,
Scott, for the sake of diving deep here, I'm reading the second half of that question. Not being able to make a budget modification without having to initiate a change order. You guys are welcome to ask me about cost plus contracts versus what we call stipulated sum contracts. Other people call them fixed price. I have a reason why we refer to it as stipulated sum. We do, when we adjust our budgets within cost plus contracts, we always do it with a change order. We've realized that it's best practice for how we operate our business. And I always preach, if you're in a construction agreement with a client to be cost plus, referred to in BuilderTrend appropriate as open book, and you're saying you're open book and you're fully transparent, you need to make sure that when you adjust that control budget, your original budget, you're communicating to your clients and your team why. So those adjustments are oftentimes those change orders that I do to adjust the budget, oftentimes are negative change orders to adjust the budget down. They're oftentimes to adjust them up if something is added, changed, or revised. And I also do, to be expected because we do weekly client updates. We're always solving for the cost to complete. Okay. Our financial calls with our clients are once a month on our cost plus jobs. So if that was a question about how do we modify a budget in a open book, we do utilize change orders to do that. I hate the curse word that it is, but it really is just a scope or budget adjustment. And I'm happy to walk through that on another call. Maybe we can do that a video, Scott, or you guys can reach out to me directly.
That's awesome. All right, we got about 16 minutes left. Couple of questions, and by the way, those of you going back and forth in the chat, great job. Keep asking them because a lot of times people that are on here may be able to respond. Alyssa asked a question, and then Sean was able to respond. I know for a fact that Sean did have BuilderTrend come for the personalized 2 days on site, but I will also tell you this about Sean: they were ready for it. All right. So this wasn't like oh yeah, BuilderTrend's coming tomorrow, and they just kind of last minute, and it's not cheap. And it's worth it. And so some of you will look at a price tag and you'll go, ooh, that's expensive. And we'll go, oh, what's the return on it? Because if the return is 6 times, then let's get them. Like, let's bring them in. And so we need to be very, very, very careful about that. So the caveat to Sean's response to Alyssa is the Supple team was ready. They were ready for it. All right. Hey, before this last question, I want to show you, because some of you thought, well, Scott, that was a little cheap. You showed us your anchor as a team. But like, you really just talk about it and clients don't do it? Nah, man, come on now. I'm going to brag on Keith Hoeing and his group. These guys are just bad, you know what? Like they're killing it right now. Brandon's their coach, and this is their anchor. Lest you think that I was like, trying to pad the stats. And so this week, if they come here, I'm gonna show you what they're gonna train on overhead dangers. They're gonna train on structural integrity. They're gonna train on paid holidays. And Keith, I don't know if actually, Keith, why don't you come off mute real quick if you can? Sorry to put you on the spot. It's actually Brandon's fault, so you can take it up with him. But do you guys have recurring builder training yet that you've built? I know this is newer for you guys in the last couple of months, but do you have recurring builder training that you built into that?
It's coming. It's in process. We don't have it finalized, but we are working on it.
Mm-hmm. No shame, brother. Like what you guys have built is way beyond what most people do. So yeah, that'll come. And this will be a good stoke for that as well, for you to be able to do that. Little plug, by the way, for Keith's coach, Brandon, who is Brandon of Donnie and Sean Richard Stenson of Dickie. If you've not listened to the Dickie and Donnie podcast, come on, what are you doing, man? My kids love it. It's the most fun that we have all week. Listen to the Dickie and Donnie podcast. So Keith, very well done. Keith, I will ask you guys, stay off mute if you don't mind. What has the Gantt version of the training done for you guys? Because I know we're talking about BuilderTrend or specific BuilderTrend training, but you've scoped this out to tech training, to HR training, to safety training, to all that. What has this, there's your BuilderTrend line right there. What has this done for your team just to be able to see it, even if you're not fully engaged in it quite yet?
I mean, it just, the repetition part, right? And keeping everything out here that we can see it, touch it, and stick with it, because I'm the king of reinventing the wheel, right? But the guy sitting next to me is really the right guy that sets it in, so we're not reinventing the wheel every day. We're this is a procedure we stick to, and the anchor, this just keeps it all in line.
Yeah. That's great, man.
If that answers your question.
It does. And I'll double down on what I said about Sean, about you guys. And this is secondhand because I'm hearing it through Brandon, but the willingness to implement is the game changer for all this. So Adam could walk you circles around BuilderTrend, but if you don't implement any of it, you're just hallucinating. We're just, you're kind of wasting your time at this point. You guys have not done that. So, all right. Kind of question and a half. Last question and a half. One is technical. One is about customer support, Adam. And so this question that we got, I thought was really good. Is there a way to better use the app? The app's kind of clunky and a little bit user experience glitch and stuff like that. Do you guys use the app? If so, do you have any best practices? And if not, that's all right.
Yeah, short answer. This isn't going to be a dissertation. Listen, my phone's right here. The app is, I can find any job on here. I can go look at the financials. I can see the selections. I can pull up the plans. Our online filing cabinet for every job is right here on my phone. However, this thing's kind of tiny, right? The memory is better than it ever has been. But on the other side of me should be my iPad right here. Instead, I'll bring up my black book, by the way. I can't tell if I'm a contractor. You can now. Your iPad, okay? And so the iPad goes. My Surface, which I'm on right here, goes. I oftentimes recommend to our team, anybody that says, hey, I just can't find it in the app, or for our clients, and that's happened too. My client said, hey, and I said, are you on the app? They said, yeah. And I said, if you don't mind, go to the web version, just log in on the web on Safari or Explorer, whatever, and you will get all the functionality that you really desire. And so that's my recommendation. Realize that you have an opportunity that you don't have to use the app. It's a convenience feature, but certainly it's not as robust as the web feature is, because you get all the details there.
Yeah, that's great. All right, thanks for that. And I think there's a best practice around that. And one of the things we need to be careful of, gang, I call this the John Ussery rule. Alyssa and Steve, you can tell him I said that. It's the John Ussery rule, because one time I said something and he was like, well, devil's advocate, classic John Ussery response. And you know what he gave me? Was the 5% exception, right? Not the 95% of the rule. And we laugh about this all the time. I pick on him all the time. But what I want you to do is that, so Adam's talking, don't think about the 5% of things the app won't do. Think about the 95% that it will do and it will help you with. Again, that's that whole mindset. Last question, Adam. Let's go to customer service. All right, brag on BuilderTrend a little bit. What are some of the customer service value adds that BuilderTrend offers as a user that we might just not be using? It's there, but we're just not using it.
Okay, I think as builders, us builders, contractors, Keith, it was really great hearing you say that you just reinvent the wheel every single time. And I said, yeah, that's credo of a builder, I think, right? So by the way to go with the anchor there. That was bad to the bone. I'll have to share notes later. The I get to, as a builder, I'm impatient. I'm really trying to drive and create better versions. One of our core values is always bettering our best. And so for me, I get a little bit impatient about needing to get information and get help. Coming from a builder before CopeGrand, we had another software, and I'll tell the story because it is true and it's relevant. But I was complaining about the antiquated nature of our builder software that we were using to run, multi-million dollar projects with. And my boss, the owner of the company, my advisor, my best friend now too, had said, "All right, Adam, have you ever read the manual for the software that you're saying that we want to replace?" And I said, "Well, no. As a matter of fact, I haven't." So that was cue number one for me, that I had to realize that in order to learn something, I had to go seek the knowledge for it. In order to grow, I had to go seek the knowledge for it. For that particular software, we had 20 hours of phone calls a month. Maybe it was 20 minutes, something like that. It was something really short. One of the most helpful things about, and this was a differentiator when we made the decision to go with BuilderTrend rather than others, was there is no limit to how many times you can need help. There is no time of the day except for after hours, and you can always call the next day. I've got the BuilderTrend mainline number. It's in my phone. It says BuilderTrend mainline. And even if my coach that's not assigned to our account, if he is in a meeting somewhere, I'm going to call it a BuilderTrend mainline, and somebody there, I don't get to a secretary, it goes straight to customer service. And I say, "Hey guys, I'm Adam Copenhaver, CopeGrand," and they're instantly on it. And I say, "This is the issue that I'm having. I feel like I might be doing something wrong. I'm in this job. I'm getting this result. Could you help me?" Real-time solutions. I mean, absolutely real-time solutions. There are so many folks like myself that said years ago, "I can't stand this software because it's so antiquated." I never had somebody to phone a friend with to get help and to get over it just like that. And you can imagine the productivity that you can not just then go linear, but go hyperbolic on in learning and implementing the software. So my hack there, if that was a hack question, Scott, is to offer it to your team. If they say they've got an issue with BuilderTrend, take extreme accountability. Call them, figure it out, be the champion of it, because the answer is there. It's absolutely there. You're not the only one that's running a building company, that's running a contracting company, that has bills and invoices and POs and clients. So the answer to what you really want is there. And I think that you are going to discover that you might find a better way. You might be doing it the wrong way. And that you want to find out ASAP. Another thing to talk about BuilderTrend. So happy to hear, Sean, that you got on-site training. We did that years ago too. It was really beneficial. We also did BuilderTrend University, which they offer. I will poo-poo on Omaha, Nebraska. I do hear that they have the best. That's where the headquarters is for BuilderTrend. I do hear that they've got the best zoo. I haven't been to the zoo, but we've been to BuilderTrend University a couple times now. And it's a great experience to go meet people, BuilderTrend, and get their training. When we were there, we took a tour around the building, and this one wing in this gigantic Google-looking building is like 100 or 200 customer service representatives. And on the wall are all these awards, and one of them I think is called the Stevie Award, which I might get this a little bit wrong, but out of all of the companies in the United States who have data centers, customer service reps, and get phone calls, these guys at BuilderTrend consistently win that award year after year, the Stevie Award, for their ratings of clients that call and their ratio of solving the question that they had for them. So you get some really knowledgeable people. You're not going to another country to talk to somebody that can barely communicate with you and not know your business. So I'll brag on that related to the customer service and an opportunity to excel your learning and implementation of the software.
That's great. That's good. All right. There's some good stuff there. We've got a few more questions that have come in, and I think because we're getting to the end of our time, here's what we'll probably do. Probably have Adam just do a video response to those. We'll just do one video response to that, Adam, and take you a couple minutes, go through each one, and then we can send that out to everybody. if you want to be a part of that. So let me walk you through a couple things. First thing I want you to do is go ahead and hopefully, I forgot to do this halfway through. Usually halfway through, people are like, oh, I'm back on email because I love it so much. I want to make out with it. And I just stop doing that. Email hates you. It hates your guts, right? All right. So put your email, put your phone, get your pen and paper out. And I want you to write down, based on what Adam said, or maybe somebody said in the chat, what's one thing you're going to implement around BuilderTrend? And then get ready, because I'm going to have you go to your chat in a minute. I want everybody to split them. So I want to encourage Adam with your action. All right? Ooh, there's a little one-liner, Adam. You can trademark that one. Encourage Adam with your action. All right, so go ahead and write down one thing. What's one thing that by doing that one thing that Adam talked about would make everything else a little easier or unnecessary? And if you're a rookie in BuilderTrend, you ought to be writing something down. If you are a pro 5-star in BuilderTrend, you ought to be writing something down, because I know some of this kind of tips some things off, and do that. And then I tell you what, there is one more question. I do want to, we'll come back to this one here in a minute, and that's the Domo reporting add-on for BuilderTrend. I do want to come back to that because I know that's been a big question. And Adam, if you've got a few extra minutes, we'll hit on that. Brandon,
yeah, I'd like some of these questions. Let's do it.
Okay. Yeah. Brandon, can you? Yeah. So just hang tight on that and we'll come back to that. Okay. Everybody's got their one thing. Let's go in the chat window and just berate it. I want you to put in the chat your one thing. Don't put 6 things. Don't put 2 things. We'll make fun of you. Don't make us make fun of you. Just put one thing in the chat that you're going to do and implement based on the things that Adam talked about. All right.
May I start answering some of these questions?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'll keep the answers short.
Yeah. Do quick fire.
Okay. Are you guys using Domo reporting add-on for BT? We are. We've been developing the Domo, our dashboard. I would say if you're interested in doing it, go ahead and understand why, understand the value behind it. And here's my caution. If you are not fiscally responsible about your numbers on job costing and bills and POs, you are going to get less of an experience out of Domo. Okay, you got to be dialed in order to get the dashboard that you're looking for in Domo, depending on which feature or which KPI that you're looking for. Are we using the AI report feature in BT? Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, this AI feature in the client reporting within the client's portal has absolutely been probably one of my favorite features added this year to BuilderTrend, and my arms and hands are all around it, and legs and feet. We have made it a process with our team. We've committed to the routine. And I can't tell you the feedback that we've gotten from the clients. We always, at this team in CopeGrand, we always say that communication is the miracle cure for everything. Proper communication is a miracle cure for everything. If you can create a routine and consistency around communication, there's no reason anybody should ever feel like they need to micromanage you. And man, we all know that feeling. We all know it. How to get micromanaged by a client or anything else. If we're doing our role and we're fulfilling it and we're proactive about communication, there's no way we get under somebody's foot. And that's a bad place to be. So this feature, this AI report feature, I don't know that, I mean, AI assists it in helping save time, draft it, and it pulls, I'm going to say, you got to do the schedule updates. You've got to do the daily logs. You've got to upload photos. The AI feature basically helps save you time by taking all those things and describing what it is. And then you add to it and make sure that you revise it. So one big takeaway, thank you for that question, iPad. Absolutely. Vanessa, sorry. And then let's see, any reviews showing a takeoff section of BT. We don't use the takeoff section of BuilderTrend. There might be somebody else, Sean, you might use it. Keith, you guys might use it. CopeGrand doesn't use it. We do have an on-staff estimator. We do take estimating extremely seriously. But we do some of our own takeoffs, but it's not something that we invest a lot of time in. And the reason is because our roofer, gosh darn it, our roofers are the pros at taking off squares of shingles and knowing how much drip edge and knowing how much gutter and knowing how much end and caps and valleys. Those are the guys that I rely on to do the takeoffs accurately, particularly when they are doing material and labor, turnkey.
That's good.
Okay.
Good. All right. Real quick, and we'll get to a couple more of these here in just a second. One thing, I'm getting some private messages. Hey, could we get access to that training thing that you showed us from Keith or Sean or whatever? Sure. We don't give those away. Here's why. Is we did for about 3 years. And then we realized everybody we gave them to never did anything with them. And one of my mentors told me one time about 10 years ago, Dan Miller, he said, if you're not paying, you're not paying attention. So we're going to make it a little painful for you to do it. It's actually not painful. It'll be a lot of fun and a great way for you to start integrating some of this. So if you want to build out a couple of things, you ready? One is a BuilderTrend workflow. So if you want to do that whole master list of here's everything we need BuilderTrend to do, and we'll workflow it. So it's a visual workflow from marketing to sales, sales to ops, ops to administration and accounting. And then we'll show, hey, here are all the things you want it to do. Now, we're not going to walk you how to do it because that's what BuilderTrend does. And so then we can take their stuff, customize it to you. But if you want to do that map, if you want to build a one-time anchor and lay out all of your training from BuilderTrend, one of those things that we talked about today, if you want a session with one of our coaches, you can do that. I'll put the link right here. All you need to do is sign up. It's a one-time, this is usually about a $3,000 to $4,000 one-time session with our coach. As just a generous thank you for being on here, then you can do it here. So here's what I'm gonna do. You can go straight to the chat window and one-time consult. And this is action. We're not just sitting talking, like we're building. We're rolling up our sleeves, and you can click there. All of our clients, tell your coaches, next time we're on, man, we're diving in for whatever you want to do around this thing. So you've already got it built in for what you need to do. But if anybody's new and you want to hop on with one of our coaches, we do have limited slots here over the next 3 weeks. And so you can jump on and just pay for it right there, and we'll get it booked for you. Okay. So, hey, Adam, do another question. And then I've got another masterclass that I'm going to tell you about here coming up that you can sign up for to come to. So go ahead to your next question.
Okay, there was one on CRM and warranty. I think Vanessa, I mean, you're a rock star. Thanks for all these questions, and forgive me if I missed some other ones. There are two things that I want to touch here. We do use the CRM. It's easy to. We're a business that might get a small number of leads a year. We don't cast a big net with any of the marketing or anything that we do. A lot of it's referral generated, our reputation generated, architects, designers. So, but I'm a man, and others are women, and we forget things. We're imperfect. So the procedure in our team is to take that lead, okay, that's what they're called when they first prospects, clients, and put them into BuilderTrend and put them in there, put their information in there. We've got an online form. You guys are welcome to check it out on our webpage. It actually goes, they do a list of questions, and it goes into BuilderTrend for us. So we can't lose the opportunity to return somebody's phone call. And so it's helped us do that, but you can also then program all the rest of the to-dos and follow-ups and that sort of thing if you're if you're a big sales machine. One thing that I wanted to touch on, Scott, I believe it was you mentioned, maybe we talked about the investment of the cost of software, the cost of time. I've been asked over the years about the software that we use and could I compare it to others? I really don't know any others. And so that might be something to consider here. But what I am confident in is that the investment that we made into our software that we've used, BuilderTrend, I've been extremely satisfied with. I'll get, hey, there's another software that's much cheaper. And I'll say, okay. And then when somebody says cheap, I go right back into my mind and say, well, the cheapest bid has always been the most expensive. It was just a matter of time until I figured it out. Okay. So I think about that, and I compare that if another software is much cheaper than the one that you're considering, I think about the value of that. I know how much that I contribute to BuilderTrend, and I know how much I've seen that building in Omaha and how many people are there, and I've seen how much it's evolved over the years. If you're going to be investing less in a smaller startup or something else, what's the opportunity for them to keep the pace of evolution as our market, as our technology is moving so fast? So I'd encourage you to find one that is a Microsoft or Apple and make that investment and give back to it to make sure that, Scott, to your point, that you are paying for it appropriately or investing appropriately. But what I really want to roll that into, and I wrote this down and I haven't thought, just a thought that I wrote down for the first time and I want to build on it. Our clients, no matter what business we're in, we might not oftentimes think this, and they may never say it, but they want us to be profitable.
That's right.
And they absolutely, at their core, they may not know it, but they want us to be profitable because a profitable company can hire, retain, keep, train the absolute best talent. There is a value for the work that we do in our market, in every market. Our opportunity to be profitable I would say, is in the teams, the systems, the procedure, being able to create predictable and repeatable results and drive efficiency, drive profit through those things, the value of the time that we spend. So if I could wrap whatever software you're going to decide to use, try to get one that you can put all of your business, let it be the single source of truth, let it guide you, rally your team around it, make that investment so that you can be more profitable to be there for your clients. And their client experience, I'm telling you, it's gotten much, much better. BuilderTrend's really made some strides, and I know that they're focusing on it even more, is the client experience on the other side. When you can give them clarity, when you can give them confidence, when you can give them certainty in the project milestones, financial results, and communication, it gets much easier to do the most difficult thing to do, which is be a builder.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Adam. It's awesome. All right. Hey, we are over our time, but with packed value, just abundant to overflowing, right? And so that's what we want to be able to do. I know we've probably left some things on the board, but I'm really, really grateful that you come, Sean. Thank you. So let me tell you about this one other thing. We've got another masterclass coming up. And so I'll put that in there. Reminder, if you want to spend that 2-hour chunk with one of the BOP coaches, and we'll actually build some of this stuff out for you right on the spot. We'll literally do it on the spot. Then go ahead and click on that one-time consult link. And then also we've got an upcoming masterclass called Building Your Team for the Long Haul. Building Your Team for the Long Haul. If you click on that link right there, it'll take you to that page and you can sign up for that. We have masterclasses at least once or twice a month so that we can offer value to you. And we're grateful that that we were able to set the stage for Adam to be able to come in and just deliver all kind of value peer-to-peer, just out of the generosity of his heart to be able to demonstrate his knowledge and what you're doing. So I would say, I hope this was helpful for you. Here's what I'll say instead. This was helpful for you. Now, the question is, will you go implement? Will you take that one thing that you wrote down and the one thing that you committed to on the chat window, and will you go do it? I do have an action item for any of you who are our clients. Please, in your next coaching call with your coach, get in and go, hey, where's my thing? In fact, go ahead and just text them now. You got their numbers. Text them now. Half of them are on here, I think. And go ahead and let them know, hey, we need to talk about this at our next coaching time, or at least make a line item because they've got your stuff mapped out. So make sure you do that. Go ahead and sign up for our next masterclass. And if you need that time one-on-one with a coach and you're not a client, go ahead and click on that one-time consult link and we'll get you started. Okay, that's a ton of value in a short window of time. Adam, thank you, thank you, thank you 1,000 times over. Thank you. I'm so grateful that you committed this time. And feed us back. If there's more stuff around BuilderTrend that you want to talk about, we might just do a whole series around this to where we get best practices, peers, load ourselves up with a bunch of questions, and then we'll just round robin. We'll have an Adam come in. We'll have a Sean come in. We'll have whoever else come in, and they can offer this kind of value. But it's our delight to be able to set that stage. Hey, thank you, Meg Billings. Look at Meg giving Adam some love from across the country. I love it. Yes, he is, Meg. It's awesome. All right, Adam, Ben, both of you, thank you for your commitment to this. And I appreciate all of you who asked questions and showed up and committed your time to this. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And let us know if there's any way that we can help you. Just go to businessonpurpose.com and we'll be happy to do that. All right, everybody. You guys have a great rest of the day. Take care.